Okay, now when it comes to basketball, you always got players that are dominant. Doesn't matter if they're power forwards, shooting guards, small forwards, point guards, or even centers. But you always got dominant players that have played well in their career. Now, one of the most dominant centers that everybody talks about is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar because he holds the record for the most career points. And not only did he do that, he was also a good rebounder and he was known for the hook shot. Now, Wilt Chamberlain's also on that list too because he was actually one of the fastest players to score 30,000 plus points in his career, and he only did it within 14 years in a career, within his 14-year NBA career. Now, on average, when players score 30,000 points or more, it usually takes them 20 years, and Wilt Chamberlain was the fastest to reach it. Jordan was also, I think, the second fastest to reach it within a 15-year career, but that goes between 3 different stints that he had played. And who knows, like I said, how many career points he would have had if he didn't retire 3 times. Now, some of the players I would like to talk about that are current players that are dominant forces in the NBA are Dwight Howard is one of them, even though I said, and I know that some people are not going to agree with me on that, but I believe that he's a dominant force when it comes to rebounding and point scoring. Another one that most people might agree with me on, well, most Miami fans would agree with me on it, but not everybody will, is I think Hassan Whiteside is another one. Another dominating force in the NBA is when it comes to players in the NBA. I don't know if you consider him a center or not or a power forward, but Antetokounmpo for Milwaukee Bucks. He's a great point scorer. He's not very good on the 3-point shot, but he has made them. But he's only made like 160 or something like that in his career, so he's not a very good 3-point shooter, but he can make them when he needs to. Now, the one thing now these guys are two brothers who are centers in the NBA. One plays for the Chicago Bulls, and the other one plays for Los Angeles Lakers. And I'm talking about the Lopez brothers, Brooke and Robin. Now, Brooke Lopez has always been a better player than his brother Robin. One of the things that Brooke Lopez has improved on, not in the aspect of not just points and rebounds, but he's improved on his 3-point shooting. He went from making 3 3-pointers in his first 9 years of his career to having over 200 in the last 2. So if you go from last year and this year, he's made over 200 threes, and that's what he's improved on for a guy that's 7 feet tall. Now, Robin Lopez in the last 2 years, his points have gotten better since playing with the Bulls. Now, Brooke, I said yes, his 3-point shooting is up, but his point scoring is lower. Robin Lopez is averaging about 13 points a game for the Bulls this year, while Brooke has been averaging nine for the Lakers. And also to throw this in here, they look so damn alike I can't even tell them apart when they're playing against each other. That's just how bad it is. Another one that's really that's been dominant for this year, even though he just injured himself, so he's going to be out now for the year, is Joel Embiid from the Philadelphia 76ers. The other two centers that are dominant forces are DeAndre Jordan for the Clippers and Andre Drummond for the Detroit Pistons. Now, even though this guy doesn't usually play center, but the Dallas Mavericks have him playing center this year, is Dirk Nowitzki. He usually plays power forward, but for some reason they played him at center most of this year, since they really don't. And even though I think he has played center at a couple of times in his career, I think he's been playing power forward mostly this year, but he's also played center when he played for Portland, and now he's with the Spurs. Is LaMarcus Aldridge, and he's also improved on his 3-point shooting. Same thing with Anthony Davis for the stupid fucking Pelicans name. He's improved on his 3-point shooting. He went from making a couple threes in the first couple of years of his career to having over 100 in the last couple of years alone. Now, other players who are improving on their threes, even though he's still not a great 3-point shooter, is Jonas Valanciunas. He went from making 1 3-pointer in his career last year to having about 30 made this year. Nikola Vucevic for Orlando Magic has also improved on his threes. He went from making 30-something threes in the first several years of his career to having 64 made this year. And even though he plays another player that plays for Orlando Magic even though he's a point guard, he's only 6'1", is DJ Augustine. He used to play for the Bulls, and I wished the Bulls would have kept him. But after Derrick Rose was coming off an injury, they didn't have space for him, and they released him. And then after they released Augustine or something like that, Derrick Rose injured himself 10 games into the season, and that's why he was out. And they should have kept him. The other player I wish the Bulls would have kept, and I call him the midget because he was short and he was the shortest player, was Nate Robinson. He was only 5'9" or something like that, and he hasn't played a game in the last couple of years. But now the shortest player in the NBA is Isaiah Thomas, who's also 5'9" for the Lakers. And you think as short as he is, that he wouldn't get a lot of points, but he somehow knows how to get around these players. Now it's kind of sucks to see because for the New York Knicks, even though this guy doesn't play center, he's a power forward, but he's tall enough to play the center position. It's Kristaps Porzingis. The guy is 7'3" and he could shoot threes all day. The guy's 7'3" and he's tall enough to play center, but he refuses to play that position. And so I'm gonna put this in there that he's listed as the tallest power forward in the NBA because most power forwards are 6'9" or shorter, and he's 7'3", playing power forward. Now I'm gonna throw some of this in here, and a few things in here at least. Now, when it comes to NBA, some players would start off as bench players, and then when they would get traded to other teams, they would become starters. In this instance, I'm referring to James Harden. When James Harden used to play for Oklahoma City Thunder, he started off as a bench player, and he rarely got any starts with Oklahoma. That's because he was playing behind Westbrook and Durant and a few other players. So he never got the chance to start and flourish. Oh, and Ibaka was the other one. He was playing behind Westbrook, Ibaka, and Durant, so he never got the chance to really start. And it wasn't until Oklahoma City Thunder traded him to the Houston Rockets that the Houston Rockets threw him into the starting lineup, and he has flourished ever since. But he is kind of a way like LeBron in a way. I mean Queen James in a way, and that means that he does sometimes get away with fouls and stuff like that. But Queen James gets away with more fouls than anybody. So now a couple other dominating players who have improved on their 3-point shooting, or just in general their game, is Paul Gasol and Marc Gasol. Now, Marc Gasol never used to be able to make threes, and now he's shooting them with more consistency. He's made about damn near 200 in the last 2 years alone. And Paul Gasol, I wish the Bulls would have made him an offer to keep him because he did pretty good in the Bulls uniform. But when he played for the Lakers and the Memphis Grizzlies, he had only made 38 3-pointers within 15 years, or actually 14 years. And it wasn't until the Bulls got him that he improved on his 3-point shooting. And now he's with San Antonio, and his 3-point shooting has improved even more with San Antonio. Now, you also got 4 players in the NBA. Some of them, and I think most of them are in their 40s. A few of them are in their 40s, like Jason Terry, Vince Carter. Gasol's not 40 yet, but he's pushing it. Dirk Nowitzki's not 40 yet, but he's pushing it too. But there's only 4 players currently in the NBA who have 2,000 career 3-pointers made or more. That's Jason Terry from Milwaukee, Stephen Curry for Golden State, Kyle Korver for Cleveland, and Jamal Crawford for Minnesota are the only 4 players in the NBA currently right now that have 2,000 threes or more. I don't think Vince Carter has it, but he's got to be close, and Dirk Nowitzki's close too. I think that's one of the reasons why Dirk Nowitzki wants to come back next year is to try to get that 2,000 threes. He's close, and I was looking up his name earlier, so I don't remember exactly how many 3-pointers he's made, but he's close to 2,000. I think that's one of the reasons why he wants to come back next year to get it. Now, when it comes to a few other things, even though John Wall is out for the year, and he's a very dominant basketball player when he's healthy, another one is Bradley Beal. They both play for the Washington Wizards. And there are some players that I get pissed off when people do this. But one of the things I get pissed off about is when you have a player on the team and you don't play them. And I'm always thinking in my head, well, why the fuck aren't you playing them? Because how are they gonna prove themselves if you don't play them? They can't get better if you don't fucking play them at all. And two of the players I'm actually talking about are Jason Smith for Washington Wizards. He's only, even though there's 82 games in the season, he's only played 29 games this year. I said, how the fuck is he going to be able to prove himself if you don't play him? Same thing with Myers Leonard for for Portland. He hasn't got any playing time at all this year. He spent more time sitting on the bench than he has playing in the 5 years he's played for Portland. I said, what they fucking should do is fucking trade his ass. I said, trade him to a team that wants to play him. Or maybe another team could probably use him. I said, fucking trade them if you're not going to play the fucking guy. Another player that hardly gets any playing time, and they only play him when they're 20 points up or so, is Thon Maker for Milwaukee. He hardly gets any playing time either for Milwaukee, and he spends more time sitting on the bench too than he has playing. And I said, how the fuck's he gonna get better if you don't play the fucking guy? Now other ones is because like I know that certain basketball teams have good players, and they have good records. Like I said, Golden State has a good record. Cleveland, even though they have a good record, even though they shouldn't have a good record at all because I fucking hate that Queen. And whenever he loses, it makes my day. But like I predicted before, I think it's going to be 4 years running with Cleveland and Golden State in the finals again. And it happened the last 3 years, and I think it's going to happen this year too. Carmelo Anthony, I said, yeah, he's a great player, but his points have been down since he got traded to Oklahoma City, along with Paul George. Russell Westbrook, still being as young as he is, still dominating. But as long as he plays for Oklahoma City, he's not going to get a ring. Neither is Carmelo, and neither is Paul George. They're not going to get a ring while playing. Carmelo thinks that the Oklahoma City is going to make the playoffs, but my bet is that they're going to probably have a first round exit. They're not going to get past the first round of depending on who they're playing. And I think the same thing with Toronto. They're probably going to have a first round exit too, depending on what the record is. I forget what the record is, but I think they're going to have a first round exit. The Bulls, we already know they're not in it. We already know Memphis is not in it. We already know that not Milwaukee, but that New York Knicks are not in it. We already know Dallas is out because of their shitty record. And we already know Sacramento's out because they have a shitty record too. And now, even though it's about an hour before the Cubs game, or about 15 minutes or so before the Cubs game starts, so I'm killing time just posting this video, and I don't care how long the video is, but we're going to make it as long as I want it to. Now, even though I've never been big on Kyle Hendricks, he's pitching today for the Cubs, and I don't know who's batting for the Cubs today except for Hendricks. He's going to be, since he's the pitcher, he's going to be batting ninth anyway. That's usually how pitchers bat. But I'm not sure who's in the lineup today. But still. Now, I'm going to talk about what I noticed during yesterday's game. Schwarber, who plays left field for the Cubs and also has occasionally played catcher, and he's not the best outfielder to play, because yesterday he did make an error in left field, but he made up for it when he hit a home run in the later inning. So that home run made up for the error that he made. Ian Happ in the game had homered on the first pitch. Had homered on the first pitch, and then Rizzo homered in the second. And then Schwarber, like I said, homered in the seventh inning, and then Stella came through with a 2-run double. Lester was not on his game yesterday, so that's why he was pulled after 3 innings, because he had 71 pitches in 3 innings. So as if you have that many pitches, then you know damn well you're not going to go very long. And I kind of figured he wouldn't go 5, because then he would have been well past 100 pitches. So since he didn't go past 3, since he only went 3 innings, he was not able to qualify for the win. You got to pitch at least 5 innings to get the win and qualify. So hopefully Hendricks, since he's pitching today, if he can go at least 5 innings and have the lead, then he could qualify for the win if the Cubs can hold it. because the Cubs did have delayed for a short time yesterday. They were up 3-0, and then it went 3-1, then it went 4-1, and then Florida tied, and then the Marlins tied it, and then the Cubs took the lead right back and never relinquished on that lead. Now, now one of the players I've always liked watching on the Cubs, or actually a few of them going that are currently on the team. I've always liked Rizzo and I've always liked Bryant. Pitching, I mean not pitching, but Bryant plays third base and then Rizzo plays first. And other players I like to watch are Edison Rosso and Javier Baez, who all played yesterday in yesterday's game, and who knows if they're playing today. Rizzo usually plays every day, and he only gets maybe 3 or 4 times off within the year. And there's only 4 games or something like that a year where he doesn't play. Baez usually plays anywhere between second, short, and third, and he's been pretty good at that. And and stuff like that. Hayward, I said, even though he's not the greatest player, even though he has an 8-year deal that the Cubs signed him to, but he has an opt-out clause after this year because this is his 3rd year with the Cubs, and it's stated that after 3 years he could opt out. And I know damn well that if he does opt out, no team's going to want him because they're not going to want to pay the $180-something million that the Cubs signed him for. So he'll be lucky if any team picks him up anyway. And somebody made a joke yesterday on Facebook about him. And they said, oh, he's got a good arm. Why not try him at pitcher? I said, I don't think that's going to work. Now, the thing is, I think what they should have done when the Cubs had him was Carlos Marmol when he was a pitcher for the Cubs. And he hasn't played a game in 3 years, so I think he kind of retired, I think, even at the age of 32. His career only lasted 9 years. And the reason why his career ended after 9 years is because when it came to pitching, okay, yeah, he was an okay pitcher, but he wasn't great. But now the thing with him was that he was too inconsistent and wild with his pitches. He was all over the place. They tried him out as a starter in his rookie year, 2006, but he was too inconsistent and wild, and then they moved him to a relief role, and he flourished in that. But with him being inconsistent and wild, he could have never been a starter. Now, one of the pitchers that's pitching right now, and he's one of the oldest, and he's one of the oldest pitchers. I think he went back to Minnesota. He had played for them earlier in his career, and now he's back with them. Is Fernando Rodney. Guy who's 41 years old, and he's still trying to show that he's got something. That's the same thing with Bartolo Colon. I forget the team he signed with, but he's 45, and he's still trying to prove that he's got something at 45 years old. I said, hell, but you got to look and see when it comes to these baseball games. I said with the Cubs, like I said, the Cubs are opening on the road, and they're usually known for opening at home. So the first 4 games of the season, they're going to be in Miami, which was yesterday, which they won 8-4. Then you got today, Saturday, and Sunday. Since Sunday is Easter, the Cubs are going to have an early game because it's going to be at 12 o'clock. The Cubs have a 6 o'clock game today and a 6 o'clock game tomorrow, and then on Sunday they play at 12. So, and like I said, Quintana pitches on Sunday, Darvish pitches tomorrow, and then Hendricks today. And even though Hendricks is not the greatest pitcher that the Cubs have, he's been pretty good the last 2 years. On form anyway, when he's not injured or anything like that. But, and that's about it.